Alright, so we're back in this second video, and I actually went ahead and I removed the style tag that we had in the last video, which was that JSX styling, which looks like this, where you'd have your JSX, and inside your style you would create an object with some backticks, and then this is just one big string, and it's kind of the worst feature of Next JS as far as I think. It doesn't really handle CSS that well because what it does is it takes this string and it needs to be a string. It needs to be something that JavaScript can parse, because the way that Next.js runs JavaScript, I mean CSS through your JavaScript, is it uses Babel, so it can't actually read regular CSS, which is what limits it. But it also gives you an opportunity to kind of correct that, and there's some good documentation for it too, and I'll show you how to get to that. But what we'll do to create our global style sheet is we're just going to create a new file here, and this is going to be called underscore document.js. And this is a feature of Next.js, and basically it allows you to control the structure of your page, and it allows you to have some SEO value as well, which is kind of the biggest thing that Next.js has going for it, is it allows you to have SEO with your server-side React project, and it's very cool. So we're just going to import some components from the actual Next framework, and then we'll start building our we don't want component, we want head, we want main, and we want next script. And this is going to be from next document. So what we'll do here is we'll do I think it's like export default class my document extends document. And then in here we'll have our render function, and then we'll return, and we'll actually give it our base HTML tags, which is something that you don't always see in a React project, which is what I like most about Next.js, is it really brings React back to actual web development, like something that you can look at and say like, oh, I know what that means. Like, it's not inserting your script into a div tag with an ID on it. It makes a lot of sense. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this head component, and that's gonna come up time and time again when we're working with our pages, and I'll explain more about that later. But it allows you to actually put meta tags and titles and CSS links directly into your head, and it'll actually insert that into your HTML document, and it's really cool how it works. It's a great feature, and probably the best feature I think that it has going for it, besides everything else that's great about it. So I'm just going to create a title tag here, and I'm just going to say Next.js awesome kit, and that. And then in here, we'll create our main component, which is going to have all of our pages inside it. It's just going to be inserted inside that main component. And then we'll just have next script. I believe it just looks like that. And let me just double check, but this is another project that I have over here, and yeah, this looks exactly the same to me. We might want to put it inside a body tag, so that's actually what I'll do, because it's more semantically more semantic markup. It makes the most sense, and we don't actually need to export this, because Next.js knows to use it. It's like this include, where if you've ever used SASS or Jekyll or something like that, that underscore means that it's either a partial or an include. So that's kind of how Next.js reads this file, and it'll know to insert our page directly into this document. So what I'm gonna do is, I don't think that I need to, but I'm just gonna rerun my server just to kind of show you what's happening. Look, we didn't even need to reload it. It's already got the title in here. So That's really cool, and it provides us an opportunity to do some things with our project that we're not always going to be able to do with a regular client-side React. So if we wanted a global style sheet and we wanted a style sheet that we can use SASS with, then we need to do some configuration to this next project. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to create a next.config.js, and this is the file that you can do all your Webpack configurations. You can add in all of your plugins and stuff, and it makes a lot of sense. And I'm just going to show you a project that I've been working on, and I've got this this Webpack mess in here, and I'm doing server-side routing and stuff like that. But just to get SASS off the ground, we really just need these two lines, and it just says const with SASS equals require Zeit/next SASS, and Zeit is the person who had, or the company, I'm not sure, who has created Next.js, and then we export our with SASS function, and that's going to actually tell Next.js that we're running a SASS project. So what we can do is found a change in Next.js, restarting the server, can't find module next SASS. That makes a lot of sense. So we're going to do a yarn install, or no, we're going to do a yarn add. I think it's just called next SASS, honestly. Couldn't find it. Alright, so we'll do at Zeit. There we go. Alright, so now we're getting it. So that's going to add it to our package JSON, and it says that it has an unmet peer dependency of node SASS. As far as I know, we can use it without node SASS, but we're going to actually require node SASS later on so that we can do some more custom configurations. So now that we have this here, what we can do is I'm going to create a SCSS directory, and in here I'm just going to create a new style.scss, and I'm just going to say a nav component is going to have padding, and we know how to do this stuff. And then I'm just going to say an anchor component is going to have text decoration none. And we can do everything with SASS that we can do in a normal project in Next.js, but what we need to make sure of is we need to make sure that in our document that we include a next link. So, and not the link that we would use for our navbar, just a regular style link. But I'm actually going to copy what I have in my other project here because it's pretty specific. We need this include next, and then we need /static /style.css. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to include that, and we'll see that if I rerun this, we'll see that it's not even going to include it into our project unless we import it into our so we have that. It ran with no problems, but we didn't get our CSS, and we didn't get our SCSS, and none of that stuff happened. So I'm just going to say color is green, and then up here I'm going to create this green variable, and it's just going to say green. So this is just some light SASS so that we can know that it's actually working with our project and it's not crashing. And what we'll do is we'll go to our index.js file, and we will import SCSS / I think it was style.scss, and we'll just go ahead and save that. Cannot find node SASS. Alright, so I guess we do need it. I didn't realize that I had installed it this early on the last time that I created this project. So what I'll do is I'll just add node SASS, and we should expect it to work. I'll just open up this documentation. So GitHub, Next JS, Next SASS. And this is where I'm getting all this information from, is I'm coming to this GitHub directory, and basically it has everything in here that you could think of to add. So it's got this here, like Next SASS, and if we come to this one, this Next Plugins directory, it'll tell you, oh yeah, so I did install Node SASS. Alright, but this is exactly what I've done here. We have this link, we have this whole markup here, and basically what we want to do is we want to make sure that we import this into our project and that it works. So I'll just rerun our dev server, and we should expect it to work now that we have our Node SASS module. And it's a pure dependency. When I saw that in the terminal, I should have considered that would be necessary. So now we have our green ununderlined links, and everything's great. So we already have SASS working right off the bat, and if we wanted to do anything else with SASS, like if we wanted to create a vars file, and we just wanted to say that, you know, we have green, right? So we just say green, and we save that, and instead of having that here, we could just do our @import, and then we'll just do underscore vars dot. I think we just need to do vars. Now we need to do our SCSS. Yep, there it goes, and you know, we still have our green links, so that was helpful. So it's really nice that you're able to have these global style sheets, but you're also able to have you know, regular just SCSS style sheets in your project as well. So back here in our components directory, we had this index.js, and we created this navbar directory, and it's not really that useful right now without multiple files in here. So what we'll do is we'll create our navbar.scss, and I'll just say in here, what I'll do is I'll create a like a little badge, I guess. I'll just create a mark component, and I'll say class name equals badge, and inside this mark I'll just say hello. So if we save that and we come back to our project, it gives us this this mark, and an HTML mark is usually just looks like it's highlighted, but we can use this new SASS module, this module loader, and actually do some cool stuff. So we'll just say mark, and we'll say, you know, border radius is 10 pixels, and the background color is light blue. And now we'll just import navbar.scss. And that worked. So now we have SASS, we have server-side React, and we have a fully customizable HTML document, and we've barely done anything. I feel like we've barely written any of our own code here. I mean, look at the size of this project. It's really not even that big. Like, we don't even need this about folder. This is just for presentational sake. So we're getting a lot of functionality right out of the gate, and the only configuration that we had to do for you know, Next SASS was install 2 modules and create a file with 2 lines of code in it. Pretty amazing stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and add this. We'll say HTML document markup with next, and SCSS modules loaded. So you know, we have all of our SASS features that we can expect. Like, for instance, if we wanted to we have our imports and we have our variables. If we wanted to create mix-ins or do extensions or any sort of inheritance or stuff like that, you can get away with everything that you need to do with a normal SCSS project here. When we set up Express in the next video, we're actually going to have to do a lot more customization to this next.config.js file because the way that it bundles it, it's not going to be able to read the @ sign in our imports. It's not going to be able to understand that. So once we add Express to this project, which is pretty simple, we're going to actually have to do some more configuration. But out of the gate, already pretty powerful stuff. If we actually, here, let me just show you this. So we have this nav bar here, right? And we'll say display flex. And then we'll do like flex direction column reverse, right? So if anybody here knows about Flexbox, then you know that you need to specify here. Even VS Code will tell you. It tells you like which browsers are have like their own configurations for Flexbox. So basically for auto prefixing, you don't need to do much with Next out of the box because it will actually do that prefixing for you. So how did we do that? We did our nav. Yeah, I thought it was the nav. What did we style here? Oh, we did the mark. So if we look at this mark, we actually didn't get any auto prefixing, but we see that we do get this Webpack prefixing, and that looks like it's coming from the user agent style sheet, which means it's just coming from Chrome. So if we wanted to actually configure our own auto prefixing, Next will do it for us when we build and bundle the project, but if we want it actually for our development and we want to control which browsers that we support, then it's pretty simple. All we need to do is create this postcss.config.js file, and I'm just going to run over here to my other project. It's a really small file. This is it right here. That's all you need. So I'm just going to copy this, and we'll come back to some of these other things here in a minute. But all we need to do is require auto prefixer and then run it. So what I'll do is I'll do yarn add auto prefixer, and then I'll just give it a dev flag because that's a dev dependency, and it's going to go ahead and install that for us. And once that's in, I'll go ahead and save that, and what I'll do is I'll just kill this and I'll just restart it. That way we know it's starting fresh, and see what happens. So we got our post CSS configuration, everything loaded fine, and now if we come back here and inspect, we should see looks like we're not getting actually our auto prefixing. I'm not sure what is happening because the last time I did this, it actually worked pretty quickly out of the gate. I don't want to do too much with this in this video because there are more configurations that we need to do to get this to be like a production level application. But just rest assured knowing that when you build your project, this auto prefixer plugin will work, and Next knows how to run post CSS. It's like a feature that's supported. Just know that when you actually build your project, you will get that prefixing. It will work. Right now, it doesn't look like it's coming in our hot module reloading, but once we do some more configuration, that'll be visible in the development build. Once we actually go ahead and add Express, and we'll do that in the next video. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to do a get status. So we added SCSS support and we added auto prefixing support, right? So I'll just do a get add all and get commit SCSS, file importing, and post CSS auto prefixing configuration. And if you look in the documentation, Next JS will tell you that they support autoprefixer right out of the gate. If you want to add your own options, that's where you do it here, where I have this empty options folder. So if you need to support all the way back to Internet Explorer 9 for whatever reason, you have that within your control. So just as a recap, what we did is we got SCSS running. We were able to test it. We were able to use some of the features that make SCSS so popular and so cool. We were able to create this HTML document where we're actually allowed to create our own markup and put things into the head of our document, which we can actually do on the fly too. So I know I didn't mention this and we're wrapping up, but I just wanted to mention just really quickly, if we included the head tag inside a page and just added a new title, for instance, we know the old title is Next JS Awesome Kit. So if we just say hello world here, and then we close our title tag and we save it, when we go over back to the browser, make sure our server's running. But when we come back to the browser, it's going to refresh with our new title, and it'll be that title that comes from that page. And it'll use that default title kind of as a fallback. So there we go. We finally finished compiling, and there we go. We have our hello world. We have a really ugly page. So we come to about. We're not extending that document title over here, so it's highly configurable, and it's really cool stuff. So we created this document that's going to allow us to kind of control our CSS and everything. And we have a global style sheet, we have SCSS, we have components with their own scoped styling, which we can control on a file by file basis to keep our CSS clean and manageable. And also we were able to add in some Next.js configurations, and we'll look into this a little bit more in the next video, and how we can add SASS with Webpack so that we can actually do some extractions and make sure that our project works with a backend attached to it. So that's what we'll do in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.